Hi, my name is Ninja, and I'm an author of Step on the Mat. And today I interview the Buddhist monk Chi Dao. Did I say it right, sir?
Yes, Chi
Okay.
Dao.
So I want to ask you about a couple of things about meditation. So, what is this important to meditate, and how would they meditate?
Um, well, I believe some of your students are adolescents, right? The age group.
The age group between 3 to 65.
Okay. So if we were to be target specific or not target specific, there's a lot of benefits towards meditation, especially while we still have the COVID pandemic going on right now. And it's important to meditate because we can focus better, we can center ourselves, we can achieve better clarity. We can think a little bit more straight. We are bombarded every day with all sorts of thoughts. Our mind is very vicious. Our mind is a very violent thing. And so when the mind has been brought under control, is well attended to and well disciplined, then you can make better choices in life. We meditate. We meditate not to get better at meditating. We meditate to get better at life. And matter of fact, martial arts is a form of mindfulness, right? I grew up studying Taekwondo, and I had very bad ADHD. I was like a bouncing ball. I could never sit still. Always doing this, always doing that. So when I think back when I was maybe 8 years old, 8 to about 10 or 11, and I practiced Taekwondo with Master C here in St. Petersburg, Florida. Those were the only time that I was actually mindful as a kid.
Oh, wow.
As an adolescent, there a lot of kids have ADHD, and parents struggle to bring them under control. Parents struggle to relate to them, talk to them, to convince them, to persuade them to do homework or pay attention in class, pay attention in karate class. You teach them 10 moves and they remember 2 and not the whole 8 that's necessary to pass. So now when we look at the benefits of meditation for the older generation, actually older adults, more seasoned adults, we see that there's a lot of health benefits involved, which is lowering blood pressure, high blood pressure. You see, again, with the same increased focus, concentration. There's about 25 different health benefits. And all anyone has to do is to Google benefits of meditation on Google, and it will show you scientific, empirical evidence base as to why you should study and practice meditation.
What is the step? Because a lot of time when I hear people say meditation, they say they don't know how to do it. Is there like a step or something that you would suggest, or something that, from based on your experience on meditation, what can you give the information for them to easily understand on why, and what to step for them to kind of follow through?
So the most basic and easiest to start off with is called Tranquility Meditation, which is samatha meditation in this tradition of Theravada Buddhism. It is a one-pointed concentration technique, which is to use the breath, mindfulness of the breath. And so there's 4 techniques that I teach that is very basic. It's very easy when we listen to it. It's easy to listen to the instructions, but it's easy until you actually put it into practice and you realize how difficult it actually is. It's just like everything else, right? We see
Right.
martial arts performing advanced level, black belt level performance, and we see, oh yeah, I could do that. Well, really? Well, let's see how high you can actually kick, whether you stretch or not.
Right.
So the first technique. So when we meditate, our backs are straight. Ideally, you can sit in a lotus position. Um, you can sit in a chair. Your back is straight, your shoulders is relaxed, you are relaxed in your face muscles. And we start with 3 deep breaths to calm the mind down. And once 3 deep breaths are done, we move into the first technique, which is breathing in. I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out. I know I'm breathing out. So as I go through each technique, I will explain why, the reason behind it, because it sounds so elementary to young people and to more seasoned adults. Is that why do we have to know that we're breathing? Because in a day, notice how we don't notice the ordinary mundane activities in life. When we're walking, do we know that we're walking? When we're washing dishes, when we're driving, when we're doing all these things, when we're crossing the street, do we know that we're crossing the street? When we punch, do we know that we're punching? And the position of the thumb and the position of the knuckles. So when we slowly trained our mind to focus on knowing, because a Buddha is one which knows. So in any moment of your life, whatever it is that you're doing, either you're eating, you're lying down, you're studying, you're writing, you're practicing martial arts, or breathing, in those moments, if you know that you're doing it, well, then in those moments, if you're not thinking about the past or the future, then that is your enlightenment in that moment. That is nirvana in that moment. So breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. Likewise, we apply this to, like I say, washing the dishes. Washing the dishes, I know that I'm scrubbing. I know that I'm using the soap, so on and so on. The second technique is, breathing in, okay, analyzing the temperature through, the counting technique, here we go. So in breath 1, out breath 1, in breath 2, out breath 2, in breath 3, out breath 3. Very similar techniques to martial arts, right? Step forward, first punch. Step to the right, step left with left foot. So the breathing techniques in the counting is best for some of the younger crowds because it gives them, you can keep track of each breath. You do that from 1 to 10 and then backwards.
Got it.
We're trying to keep the mind still. We're trying to do something that the mind does not want to do. If the mind wants to jump, it does not want to stay still. The third technique is a very fun technique. It is analyzing the temperature of the room that you breathe. So you're analyzing the temperature of the air that you breathe through your nostrils. Analyzing the temperature of the air that you breathe through your nostrils. And so in this technique, there's a lot going on actually. You're seeing, you're noticing, knowing, and besides analyzing the temperature, if it's 70 degrees, 75 degrees, 60 degrees, 80 degrees, you're also noticing how the breath is moving in and out. Okay. The sensation of the upper lip and the nostrils area. Okay. There is a natural pleasure in breathing. We just don't notice it. But at the same time, there's also suffering in the breath. the rising and falling of the abdomen. But to keep it basic and elementary is that we close our eyes and we just basically trying to figure out what is the temperature in this room right now. And that's pretty cool. That usually keeps the mind quite still and very difficult for it to jump. The the fourth technique is pretty much the same as the first technique. It is a Thailand technique. In breath, But, out breath, To. So But, To, But, To. And Butto means Buddha in Thailand. And it's the same concept as the first, which is breathing in. I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out. I know I'm breathing out. So I actually practiced the fourth technique for 15 years of my life.
Wow.
When I reconstructed, it was on or about when I was 14 years old that I started the Butto technique. And Venerable Bu Phung, he is a very strict man because he's lived in Thailand, and very strict when it comes to chanting, and very strict when it comes to the samatha meditation. And so, can you imagine, for 15 years, that's all I did was Butto for 30 minutes, each day,
Right.
except Sundays. No one ever introduced the other techniques to me. And so basically, this is a very strict tradition, a very strict school of Buddhism. And until you get the basics down before you go into advanced level meditations.
Wow. Is there like, sometimes people say this to me, that I don't have time to meditate. So what is the best way, or how long you need to be meditating?
But essentially, when I hear that, it's equivalent to I don't have time to breathe. That's what they're telling me. It's very simple. It's already built in us. It's already there. We don't have to go on a shelf to borrow some lungs and install these lungs in order to make this work. We just have to notice the breath. We just have to bring our attention and awareness to the one thing that's already built inside of us. So people who say that, which is very common in the Western world, because see, in the Western world, including myself, since I've lived here for 28 years, I came here when I was 7 years old. In the West, we tend to make a lot of excuses for ourselves. I would have, I could have, I should have. I have homework. I have to pick up my dog. I have to pick up my daughter, my son. I have to send an email. We find all sorts of excuses to run away what is most important in our lives. So the easiest thing to counter this, or an antidote to fix when someone, has a lot of excuses, or say they're too busy or something like that. So let's say someone comes to find me at a temple and they tell me this, and I would, if I have a good 20 minutes with them, I would look at them and I would say, I like to tell you, you have 1 week to live. And so if we take 24 hours times 7, which I did the math last time. I can't. Let me cheat really quick here. This is why I'm not good in math. 168, right? 24 times 7 is 160. If I told you you have 168 hours to live, or I give you a month to live, which is I think 720 hours, 30 times 20. Yep, 720 hours. And if I give you a life-changing diagnosis, and if I told you that in order to escape suffering and no longer take rebirth, you must let go of greed, anger, and ignorance. And now you have to practice meditation and try to bring everything under control and let go of everything in your life. let go of everything. So typically these things wake people up because now they have a timeline. Now they can actually concretely think, oh, wow, well, the Venerable told me I have cancer and I have a week to live. I have 168 hours. If I break my hours down, how many hours am I going to sleep? How many am I going to jump in the shower? How long am I going to take a bath or a shower? I'm pretty sure you would stop taking a bath because it's a waste of time. A lot of things we do is a waste of time if we look at it time management wise. So, it's a, and then you ask them, well, if someone is actively suffering in their life, stress, a breakup, difficulty concentrating, difficulty focusing, difficulty listening. We look at some of the difficulties in everyday life, activities, work, school, and then we ask them, do you think you can be a better you? Do you think you can be the best you? And we try to narrow down in trying to reason with them to see, if meditation is right for them, and to convince them to persuade them to practice meditation. Obviously, someone who forgets their keys often would probably want to try meditation because you get frustrated, right? You can't find your keys. I'm frustrated. I can't get stuff right. I'm always late to work. Psychological organization is very important. And so as teachers or instructors, we tend to look and notice at our students when they say these things. We can't make them do what they don't want to do. We can only help them think. And if we're able to help them think critically, wisely, and intelligently, then somewhere down the line, they will probably be sick and tired of being sick and tired of whatever the old activity is, their old ways in their old days. And eventually they will adopt a new system of meditation and see if it yields results.
How long you think like normal? I know you meditate for a long time, but how long considered like one meditation? Like how long you think effective? Because a lot of time people will say, well, I'm getting into it, but I don't know how long I should be meditating.
It depends on the age group because, a week from now, I'm talking to pediatricians. So the age group is for young adults, young kids. So I would say for people who are new, start out with 5 minutes and then gradually increase. For a working adult or active student work in school, I would say 15 to 20 minutes is sufficient. Just like me, from my own experience, again, 30 minutes for 15 years. The temple chanted from 7 to 7:30, and from 7:30 to 8 p.m. We meditated. So I was very peaceful, and it helped me focus in school. So do it before work or school, and then after work and school, because when you do it before work and school or karate practice, you're better focused. You have set the intention. You're clearing your mind in walking in. We don't bring. Meditation aims to drop acquired negative emotions and acquired bad habits, accumulated negative emotions, accumulated negative bad habits. So when we clear our minds, we walk into class or work. It's a lot more clarity in our lives. We're more effective, more efficient. And likewise, a lot can happen at school and work. So after work and school, if you meditated, then you let go of all these emotions that you acquired during work and all of these frustrations during school or practice, so you become happier and kind of leave it at the door and become a new you when you come back home.
So last question is, I discover you on Instagram actually, and I follow you for a while, and I still follow you, and it's very inspiration. That's why I said to myself, I said I have to do this to all the people that surrounded me understand the concept. And beside like Instagram, some people don't have Instagram. Do you have like any other thing that they can follow you?
So if you put GDAO, TRIDAO monk on Google, you will see that I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You put Venerable GDAO. So people can find me, people can reach out to me for one-on-one guidance. But yeah, it's I'm very accessible. I made myself accessible to the public so that it's it's quite different, right? Usually you see monks in the forest meditating. You don't see monks in the city and getting on social media helping people. But this is a critical and pivotal point in all of our lives right now, where we're dealing with pandemic, we're dealing with a lot of issues in society, a lot of pressing issues in society, where I felt for myself it would be selfish to just focus on me and not share the knowledge and not share my experiences and the instructions that was laid out by our Buddha, our one and only historical Buddha. So I hope that with everything that I'm sharing with all of you, that you will apply it to your lives, as it will also increase self-discipline. Discipline is everything. Yeah. Discipline is found in every sector of law, every sector of medicine, our armed forces, our martial arts students, our law students, our medical students. They wouldn't make it if there's no discipline. And so I hope to inspire all of your students and students across the world is that trust the process and set guidelines and policies for yourself. Police yourself, basically. No one can save you. No one can and no one may. You must save yourself, said the Buddha. So we must try to use all of these Eastern practices in setting ourselves straight, learn what needs to be learned, know what needs to be known, and practice what needs to be practiced, are some of the most key pivotal teachings of the Buddha. And so if they give this a try, because I'm encouraging all students across the world, including your class, if you give it a try, you will see results. Our job is to be a scientist. Our job is not to just listen and just to believe or based on blind faith. My job as a Buddhist monk is to prove the Buddha wrong. And so, I too approach this teaching from a scientific standpoint. So I encourage everyone that is involved, that's interested in meditation, is to try it. Take these breaths, take these deep breaths, try the 4 techniques, and see if you actually focus better. See if you actually forget less, and see if you can concentrate even more. See if your happiness level is increasing. So that's my challenge to all of your students and students worldwide.
Thank you. Thank you very much for all the answer that you have given. And I learned a lot from just talking to you right now. And thank you for appreciate you. And thank you very much.
You're most welcome. And I hope everyone gets a black belt and get a black belt in mindfulness, which is exactly what I teach. Take care.
Thank you.